Open checkout.php and we're going to add some more PHP code to the top of the page. Include the database connection file. Then we need to get the subtotal which has been passed in the URL from the cart page to the checkout page. Same with the discount, both of these will now be stored in local page variables. We can use these variables to calculate the total amount to pay. And then save the file. Now we need to see if our checkout page can be displayed. So we'll add a product to the cart. Then click on the Proceed to Checkout button, which takes us to the checkout page where we have a form that the customer can fill in. There is a revised version of the order form available as a text file. So copy this code. Then in checkout.php, replace the old form code with this new code. The code starts at the comment that says checkout content section and ends at the comment that says end checkout content section. Now we need to change the form action. Replace the hash with a link to orders.php. Then save the file. Refresh the checkout page. Now we can see the new version of the form, which allows us to select a location, date and time for collection. This is an improved version of the form because it aligns with the requirements of Bean and Brew to allow customers to make orders for collection. It's also clear what the customer has to put in terms of information that they need to enter into the form. And having the collection date and time allows them to place an order to be collected later. We can add further validation to ensure that customers cannot place orders in the past or too far in the future. We can also improve the form further by adding a message box to allow customers to enter messages like they did in the booking form. We can make these improvements in a later version of the solution. In checkout.php, we need to display the subtotal, discount, and total variables on the page. We're going to display those here. Remove the zeros for subtotal and replace it with an echo statement to print out the subtotal variable value. Do the same for discount to display the discount variable. And then the same for total. We can refresh the checkout page and then we can see the totals are now displayed. This matches the same data we can see in the URL. The SQL code for the orders table can be found in the orders table text file. So copy this code. In PHP by admin, click on the coffee shop database and then the SQL tab. Paste the SQL code in here and then click on the Go button. This will create a new table in the database called orders. We need to add another field into the orders table. In the orders table, click on the structure tab We want to add one field after ID and then click Go. In the name field, write location. Change the type to varchar and give the field a length of 50. Press the Save button. Create a new file and save this as orders.php. Copy the code from booking.php and paste this into the new orders file. Before we go any further, we need to make a change to the code in checkout.php. The select box name for the location selection is called branch in this code. However, in orders.php, it's called location. I've opted to change branch to location to keep it uniform and consistent with the code we already wrote for the booking form. So in checkout.php, we need to change the word branch to location. In orders.php, change booking date and booking time to collection date and collection time, as these are the field names that are used in our order collection form. We already have the phone field. So next we need to include an email variable. We can just copy the code for the phone variable and change it to email. We also need a variable to store the total amount to pay and another field for the payment method. And just make sure to comment the message variable out for now. To change these booking variables to something more meaningful, so change the booking date to order date and booking time to order time. Now we're going to update the SQL query. So change the comment and the table name from bookings to orders. Change booking date to collection date and booking time to collection time. Then we need to add the fields email, total to pay and payment method. We need to add these fields to the end of our SQL query. Then we need to update the variable values that we want to insert into the database, change message to email, then add total and payment method. We need to change the page to direct the user to, change booking to order, and the user will be sent to this page if the insert query runs successfully. And finally, save the file. Create a new file and save this as order_confirmation.php. Copy the code from bookingconfirmation.php and paste this into the new order confirmation file. Then you want to change all the instances of the word booking to order. This is an example of some test data that we're going to use to check if customers can place an order. We'll add some sample products to the cart and enter some details for a fictional customer. We expect these details to be added to the orders table in the database, and the confirmation page should be displayed. It should also record the total amount that the customer needs to pay and their method of payment. I've already put the test data in here for our sample customer. Now we click the place order button and we're shown the order confirmation page. We'll check the database table and we can see the order has been inserted as a new row. However, the total to pay is stored as 0. So there is an error in the form code in checkout.php. It's missing a value variable. So MySQL will store the default value, which is 0. We can use the actual outcome box to explain what's happened when we ran the test, which was partially successful. Then in the comments box, we can record the problem and what we need to do to fix it, which we'll come to next. This value field needs a value. So between the quotation marks, we need to print the total variable. And this should fix our data storage error. Now we can retest the order feature to check if the total to pay is stored in the database. We expect to see a value of 7 stored in this field because total to pay is £7. We're using exactly the same test data as we did before. We've got our test data in the form, so we need to click the place order button. We get the order confirmation page again, so we'll check the database by clicking the Browse tab. So we can see our order has been inserted as a new row, and it has also stored the value 7 for the total to pay field, so this is now correct and fixed. We can record the actual outcome of our test, which is as we expected it to be. In the comments section, we add some notes about the extra functionality we might want to add to improve this feature later. So things like adding a message box for the customer to be able to record things like allergy information that would be important to improve our user experience. We can also add some JavaScript code to validate the form before it's sent to the server. So this would check things like the date to make sure the customer can't place orders in the past. And that'll improve both the usability and user experience. Finally, we want to think about adding error messages to the form. For example, if a customer inputs an invalid phone number or an invalid email address, we can let them know which field is a problem. Again, this will improve the user experience.